Hey, good morning. So I know it's bad form to do two videos in one day, but this was also on my heart, and so I just want to do it. I'll post it a different time. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's because I've already done a video today. You can go see it. It's the faith over fear. I'm wearing the same thing with the same earrings. My hair's the same. My makeup's the same. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about why I don't ask why. I've got little girls but mommy, why? They're very dramatic with their asking of why. And I'm not talking about that, but I wonder sometimes if God looks at me that way as a child who can't understand. Sometimes I think, how do I explain this to an 8-year-old? Or how do I explain this to a 6-year-old, why something's happening? So anyways, I just wanted to share with you why I don't ask why. I've always, since a teenager at least, been pretty good about not asking why. I think I must have just realized pretty early on I wasn't going to get an answer I liked, so I quit asking. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I just wanted to share with you. So I read Job again already this year. I'm doing a chronological study, and the one I'm doing has Job after Genesis 11. It switches over to Job and assumes that it's quite possibly right before the flood. Not a deal breaker. It doesn't matter, but it's just where it is in the study that I'm doing. But anyways, so, bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to bad people. Good things happen to good people. I think we all understand that at a basic level, but I think sometimes when we feel like we're being attacked or bad things are happening to us that don't feel deserved, sometimes I think it's important to remember and to take a moment to think about that sometimes things are happening that really have nothing to do with us. So I wanted to share in Job. So if you're not familiar with the story, it's right before Psalms and right after Esther in the Old Testament. But Job is a great man. In fact, I'm going to read it. So if you see me looking down. So it says, there was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was blameless and upright. And he was one who feared God and turned away from evil. It says he was the greatest of all the people in the East, which, by the way, that might not be that much of a compliment, because all through Genesis, we learn about the people in the East are bad. So it doesn't mean East of like where we are now in America. That's not what it's saying. But just back in Old Testament times, people, that was not the promised land. So they were going east. They were going away from the promised land. Okay, so then it skips down verse, I don't have my glasses on, 6. It says that the sons of God, who were angels, came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan was allowed to come too. And, God is always, he cracks me up how he always asks these questions in the Old Testament that he knows the answer to. And he says, oh, where have you come from? Like he doesn't know where Satan's been hanging out. And he says, Satan says, going to and fro on the earth, walking up and down on it. And the Lord said, have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on earth, blameless and upright. He fears God and turns away from evil. So repeat what was previously said. And he said, no, but does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not protected him? Basically, I'm summarizing. So then God allows him to basically test Job. It says, behold, all that he is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand. So Satan went from the presence of the Lord. So basically he said, you can't kill him. You can do anything else, but you can't kill him. So Job, of course, has no idea that conversation is happening. Job proceeds to lose everything. Everyone in his family dies. His kids die. His wife dies. No, his wife doesn't die at first. Loses all of his wealth, his livestock, everything. And then eventually we find out that he even has boils. So like gross sores all over his body, and he has to take old pottery and scrape them off. So I can imagine Job, who is someone who is upright and blameless and feared of God and turned away from evil, would be a little distraught that all this is happening. And we go through the whole book of Job. I find it very frustrating because his 3 friends, and then there's even a 4th guy, basically say, you've got to have sinned. You've done something wrong. There's no other reason this would happen. And I'll tell you, I think we still do that today. We assume if something bad is happening to someone good, that it's because they've done something to deserve it. And I think that's because that's how we as humans, as fallen humans, operate. That is logical to us. That makes sense to us. I will tell you that is not how God operates. Punishment, I've said this before, punishment was taken care of on the cross. If you are a believer, then you do not have to worry about, God is not looking to punish us, right? He's looking to restore us. We are his children. It's kind of like if you ever got a spanking when you were a kid and your parents said, this hurts me more than it hurts you. Like, I laugh now because I'm a parent and I probably have said that. But you kind of understand it as a parent. You're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to discipline you. But sometimes we have to be disciplined. But there's a difference between discipline and punishment. So anyways, back to why I don't ask why. Job had no idea. He was not in on the conversation that basically, God bet Satan he couldn't win. The good news is at the end, he does not win. And God comes down and rebukes Job's friends for being horrible friends. They were great until they opened their mouth. You have any friends like that? Like good friends until they open their mouth? They sat with him and mourned with him. And then when they started talking, they said horrible, stupid things. But so God does end up restoring Job, which is a fantastic ending. If it was a movie, we would all be happy that there was a good ending. But basically, we cannot know or see everything that's happening, right? We can't see what's happening in heaven. We can't see that God's having a conversation with the angels and that Satan gets to come along. There's a whole world. I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. A spiritual realm that we are not always privy to. Most of the time, I would say, are not privy to. And our brains can't really comprehend it. A lot of times we think of God as a human, and he's not. He created us. So it's described a lot in the Bible as a mystery. And I think that's right, because we are not capable of understanding. We keep trying to put God like in our brain, but he is way above our brain. So there's things that are happening that we don't know about, but he may use us to make a point or sometimes to protect other people. So I have some examples I wanted to share with y'all. So funny story, when I was, I think 23, I had just started seminary at Dallas Theological, and I thought I was going to do pastoral counseling. That was a 4-year program with Greek and Hebrew. After 1 year, I decided I don't think I want to do that. And so they also had a program where you could get licensed in the state of Texas. So I said, maybe I'll do that. It's a 3-year program, no Greek or Hebrew. Bonus. Okay. So I go to sign up for that. I go to research the state regs. What do I need to do in the state of Texas? Well, my classes count. Of course they did. Texas, that semester, had just switched over from needing 2,000 hours of postgraduate work to 3,000 hours. So if I would have come in to DTS knowing I wanted to do the 3-year program, I would have only had to do 2,000 hours. But fast forward 20 years, I am married to this amazing man who has a great job and gets transferred to Pennsylvania, of all places. If you would have asked me when I was 23 what state I would ever live in, I only would have told you Texas or Colorado, and that's just because I love the mountains and would have loved to have lived in Colorado. Still would love to live in Colorado. Not Pennsylvania. So 20 years later, I go to get a license, not a driver's license, my professional license, a licensed professional counselor in the state of Pennsylvania. Take a guess how many hours you have to have. Not 2,000, 3,000. So I tell you this to tell you, I kind of jokingly at the time was like, why didn't I transfer my major over a semester earlier? I'm sure I whined about it. But man, 20 years later, I got to see God deliver. He knew he knew I would end up here. He knew I'd be making this video right now telling you all about it. He knew I needed 3,000 hours. So he stalled me for a minute. He did not pull back the curtain to say, this is the path you should take until the timing was right. So I was prepared. If I would have moved here to Pennsylvania and had to go and get another 1,000 hours of postgraduate work when I had been licensed for 18 years, nope, wouldn't have happened. Just gonna be honest with you. So anyways, that's a silly example, but it shows you how it took 20 years for the why to be revealed. And if I would have been stuck on why for 20 years, how miserable would I have been, right? I probably wouldn't have moved to Pennsylvania because I wouldn't have been married, because I would have been a miserable human being. But it took 20 years for that to be revealed. And so, so thankful for that. Another story, this is, I don't know the outcome of this, but this is how I like to think about it. One night, a few years ago, we were headed to church on a Wednesday night, and the girls were little. I think they had just gotten into booster seats, so I don't even know what age that is, but we're going to church, and we weren't even on a highway. We lived really close to the church. And so we were just on like our little road that we drove to get to the church. This is Second Baptist, but it was before it was in the new building. It was when we were at the Berry Center, for all my Houston people who know what I'm talking about. And I just happened to look in the side mirror, and I said, he's not going to stop in time. We were coming up on our red light, and I looked in the mirror and knew the car behind us was going to rear end us. And I said, hang on. No one could react fast enough. Will goes, what? Bam. So then we get rear-ended. We hop out of the car. I'm so like old fashioned. I get out paper and pen. Like, it didn't even occur to me that you could just take pictures of the accident with your camera. But I get out paper and pen, and I'm writing down everything. But I remember Will was like, why does this stuff happen? And I was like, you know what? So the boy's name, I think his name was Caleb, and he was precious. He was maybe 17. He was young. He was terrified. His parents were there within 3 minutes. I was so thankful. And they were tender. They were not yelling and screaming at him. It was beautiful. Mama came and checked on us to make sure we were okay. But, you know, I started thinking, I was like, wow, what if this happened to save him from something else? What if he was headed somewhere where something bad was going to happen? What if he was headed to a party, or what if he was going to get into a bad situation with a girl? I don't know. But what if this wreck steered him clear of that? What if this put a detour in his plans to save him from something? And that gave me such peace. I have goosebumps when I think about it now. But my point is, guys, that we don't know. We don't know. And does that sometimes make it seem like we're like a tool, we're just being used? Sure, but that's okay. To be used by God, even if it's something so simple as to save a kid from making a bad decision, I'll take it. That's okay with me. So again, these are not life-altering examples that I'm bringing to you. There probably are some of those too, but these are within easy reach for me to share with you. I share them a lot in session. So it's sometimes why is not for us to know. Well, I don't think it's important to ask, right? I think maybe what would be way more important, but I think sometimes we don't get that answer either. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you struggle with asking why, I would ask you to maybe pray about that some, and to see if you can find a space where you can maybe trust God, maybe seek to be like Job. Not that we want to sit around on a trash heap with boils that we have to scrape off, but to seek to be able to be called by God as blameless and upright. I know I can't say that. That would be amazing if God would say that of me, but I can't say that, right? I am a sinner saved by grace. But just to be able to lay the why down and to trust that God has a plan, and that he chose for whatever reason to use us in that plan. On a side note, in that car accident, no one was hurt, no injuries. I mean, our cars were hurt, but that's why we have insurance, right? I got a new back end on my car. I'm not sure what he had to have done on his car, but everyone was okay. Like, God protected us. And so I really felt like God used us but protected us. And I'll take that. I'm okay with that. So just wanted to share that with you. If you're struggling with why, I understand, but I would challenge you to try and lay that down and see if you can find room in there for some faith and to trust that God is in control. All right? You'll have a great day. Love you. Bye.